Okay, so we must be online. So hello everyone, I am Aziz from Hello Tomorrow, and I will be your host for today's webinar. So first of all, I would like to welcome each and every one of you in this session. I would like to apologize because we had to postpone the session to have our experts with us. Thank you for your interest in GALP Startup the Future too. I would also like to welcome Joanna and Pedro, who will be our speakers today. So, as you probably know, GALP is calling for applications in 5 different distinct topics. For this 5th webinar, we will be focusing on the mobility track of the program, as the other 4 topics have already been covered in previous sessions that you can find on Hello Tomorrow's YouTube channel. We will, I think, share the links at the end of the presentation if you are interested, of course. So before going through today's plan, I would like to invite each and every one of you to ask your questions. During the presentation, we will have dedicated time to answer all of them at the end. So feel free to ask your questions anytime during the presentation. The plan today will be to start by a very quick presentation of Hello Tomorrow and what we do. Then I will pass the floor to Joanna, who will present GALP, who will also talk about Startup the Future. Pedro then will dive deeper in the mobility track specifically, and we will finish, so as I said, by answering your questions. So without further ado, I will start by Hello Tomorrow. So we are a team of now more than 45 people. We have mixed backgrounds of science and business. Our main focus, as you see here, is accelerating deep tech ventures. By connecting stakeholders, and consequently, we have been building a deep tech ecosystem for more than 20 years now, since 2011. And we managed today to have a worldwide network of startups, VCs, and also corporates. And so to achieve this, we have a fairly unique business model, I would say, with 4 main areas of activities or 4 main businesses. First of them, as you see at the top, is ecosystem and event organization, which is, as our main goal is to connect everyone in the deep tech ecosystem. That's our first area of business. You may have heard of the Global Summit, which is our big event in Paris every year. Second, as you see at the bottom, is the consulting, which is our main business, which is also the team I am part of. And that's what we're doing now. We're a GALP. It is oriented towards companies, governments, in helping them mainly identifying upcoming trends or business opportunities, etc. We have third the startup programs oriented towards startups, of course, helping them with business strategies, raising funds, finding strategic partners, etc. And recently, which is our 4th pillar of activity, is VC. We launched our VC fund very recently. We try to invest in pre-seed and seed deep tech companies. And that's it, basically. So in short, that's it about HT. I will now pass the floor to Joanna to talk more about GAP.
Thank you, Ahmed, for the introduction, and hello, everyone. As previously mentioned, my name is Joanna, and I work at GALP, obviously. I am part of the Open Innovation team at GALP, and I am currently leading the startups and external ecosystems area. For those who don't know GALP that well, we are a Portuguese company, an integrated energy company that already has existed for quite a few years and that has been trying to shift its business from the traditional oil and gas industry to a more clean, also future with new types of energies, electric mobility, and many other types of different energies in the energy spectrum. We have been existing for 150 years. We are present in 10 countries. So although based in Portugal, we also have operations in Spain, in Brazil, and in 7 African countries. So you can also expect from us a few introductions to other geographies that might be of interest to your business. And we have currently 52 nationalities working in the company. So it's a global business that we have going on here. When it comes to innovation, which is the team that me and Pedro are part of, we are basically working for the whole company, and we have many different touch points and focus areas that you can see on the right side of your screen. So as you can see, very broad, from battery value chain and biofuels to green hydrogen and sustainable fuels, passing through mobility and energy cost optimization. We have experts from all fields. When it comes to how we are organized, we are a team that is made up of people with very diverse backgrounds that can range from engineering and psychology to design and geology. We have several different nationalities, and we are spread across different GALP offices from Porto to Rio de Janeiro. And our innovation department has two main innovation centers that basically mirror GALP's business units. We have the Upstream and Industrial Innovation Center that intends to reframe our core business related to oil while it still exists. And we do this through many different technologies. We explore, for example, carbon capture and utilization technologies, green hydrogen, biofuels, e-fuels, and many other topics. And then we have the Renewables and Commercial Innovation Center, in which Pedro works, which also explores many different topics. Of course, renewable energies maybe is more self-explanatory. So we explore both solar and wind generation, but through innovative projects such as agrivoltaics, which connects agriculture and solar PV, or virtual power plants and many other topics. And then we also have the focus when it comes to commercial innovation on smart energy solutions, with projects related to flexibility and aggregation, and also smart mobility, which is what brings us here all today, with many different topics such as battery swapping, second life batteries, wireless charging. And finally, we have a vertical, which is smart retail, which is the only one that is not directly related to the energy transition, in which we try to improve the customer experience at our convenience stores, which are mainly located in our service stations, with many different innovative projects like self-checkout and computer vision. And I think when it comes to innovation, you can see that there is a lot going on. So we are a very dedicated team, very excited to work with all of you in Startup the Future. And with all of these different challenges that we have here, and me being part of our open innovation platform, which is GALP Upcoming Energies, that is in charge of managing this program, we have decided that we needed also the help of Hello Tomorrow to find suitable partners to work with us and to help us build a portfolio of opportunities to drive the energy transition at GALP. When it comes to Startup the Future, basically we decided to launch this program a few years ago, so it's our third edition now. And this was the first time that GALP was doing a global innovation program. And from the first edition that we did, we got immediately more than 200 applications, and from more than 50 countries. And we are already testing solutions with startups from the first year and also from the second year. And that is why we decided to relaunch the program once again, because it has been something that has brought us a lot of fruitful connections, and it has demonstrated that basically it is a good way for us to find suitable partners to test solutions that we can then integrate into our business. In this sense, our main goal here today is to introduce to you specifically the topic regarding pioneering mobility solutions and connectivity, which is also hosted in partnership with our partner BMW and Mini, which has been with us from the very first edition. So it's already our third year working together with BMW. Today, we unfortunately, because of all the holidays, we couldn't have someone from BMW being present at the session, but we have Pedro from the mobility sphere that is also going to help us out today, introducing the topic and basically explaining to you what we are looking for. And also, he will also be able to answer a few specific questions about this track at the end, and me as well. So feel free to ask questions at the end, just like Ahmed had previously said. So I think now, Pedro, I can give the floor to you to introduce a bit what we are looking for in this vertical.
Yes, thank you, Joanna. So this vertical, this track is all about electrical mobility, and we would like to share here some of the challenges that we are looking into that are really interesting. One of them is mainly relative to the grid restrictions. So the restrictions to grid connections for ultra fast charging, and we are looking for solutions that can help us in this. Can be solutions related to storage, can be solutions related to the integration of photovoltaics, for example. Can also be something that could be analyzed from a perspective of offering grid services, flexibility to the grid. In this case, I could share one really nice project that I have the opportunity to be involved now, and that we started last we connected last week. That is the usage of Second Life, Pecos Second Life batteries to provide exactly this storage and feeds to ultra fast chargers in Spain. So in this case, we had a grid connection that was too low, so it was 150 kilowatt grid connection, and with the usage of this Second Life battery, we are now able to have two 180 kilowatt chargers available 24/7. Another topic that is of our interests and more on the radar of e-mobility is the vehicle to X. And as vehicle to X, vehicle to everything, we understand the behind the meter use cases, so vehicle to building or vehicle to home. We are aware of the recent developments in this arena, and would like to explore this further with you. Also, it would be super interesting to have other ideas that can unlock the potential for public electric vehicle charging massification. So in this case, what we mean is low power charging in residential areas in an overnight use case. We are looking into this. We have some pilots ongoing here in Portugal, but we would like to hear also your perspective for this part. And basically, it's this. We open for any questions that you would have regarding this track in the end of the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Pedro. We will talk a bit about the Startup the Future program now. I think I will let Joanna.
Sure, I can go ahead and take this one. All in all, and from what you heard of Pedro and also what I said before, basically the main goal for us with this program is to find startups that we can work with and test solutions with. So that is basically the goal that we want to achieve here, and that is what you should keep in mind when you apply. We want to test solutions. So far, with the startups from previous years, we have been able to test solutions in 3 different GALP geographies, in Portugal, in Spain, and in Mozambique. And we think that this is really a win-win situation, because we test the solution with you, and sometimes we are also able to introduce you to new markets that you are not working at in the moment, which is very interesting, at least from the feedback also that we have had from years before. Besides that, you will be able to have access to our corporate venture capital team. So you will be able to connect with them. And although this program, of course, is not about funding, maybe you can talk to also our CVC team and see if there is funding opportunity, which is not directly related to the program, but we do give you this opportunity, and we introduce all participants to our CVC team. Also, you will, of course, be able to engage with the energy experts from GALP, from all across the different fields that we mentioned. And by working with us, you will also have access to many different, eventually, partners from GALP that we also work with closely, which is also an add-on for you. And finally, obviously, you will fly to Lisbon to attend the Web Summit 2024, with the accommodation, flights, and all of this covered by GALP, so you can connect with even more corporates, eventual partners, and investors. And really, this is the biggest, one of the biggest conferences in the world, and it is the biggest one that we have in Portugal. So we really feel like this is something that truly adds value, and we have had wonderful feedback from the participants from the 2 previous years. And it really is a great opportunity also for you to just engage and get your business across to different players in the innovation sector from all across the world. And I think that when it comes to why you should apply to the program, it's really because of all of these topics, and because we are a very eager team to work with you and to collaborate and really find innovative solutions for the business, and also help you grow your business with the help of GALP and of our partners. I think, Ahmed, you can continue from here.
Thank you, Joanna. Okay, so we'll have a word on the timeline, and then we'll move to the Q&A. So for the timeline, we are receiving applications until September 10th. So we still have plenty of time to apply. Then we will have, between September and October, we will probably recontact you again to have some alignment calls with you and with our experts to review the applications. And by October 20th, the finalists will be announced. You will also then, as Joanna said, have the opportunity to go to GALP's Web Summit in Lisbon by November 18th. So this is about the timeline, mainly. I think we can move to the Q&A, so do not hesitate to ask your questions. I think I see a couple of questions already. We have Tarcisio that is asking, 34 new projects applied in smart mobility. I think it might be referring to the projects that GALP is working on that we were talking about. So I think it's more 34 projects.
I don't think we mentioned these numbers specifically. I'm not sure if Pedro knows how many projects we have ongoing in smart mobility, but I don't think I don't think it's 34 specifically. Maybe Tarcisio, if you want to try and explain a bit more what you mean by this, it would be great. But basically, we have more than 55 projects ongoing with startups, but that is not just in smart mobility. It's in all of the spheres of the energy sector in which GALP is present.
Yeah, so it's more around all the projects GALP is working on. Tarcisio, do not hesitate to maybe give us more detail. Would be happy to answer. We move on to the second question by Maya, who's asking, is V2X usage and traffic logistics optimization applicable in the category?
Okay, I can take this one. So as V2X, we are here mainly understanding the bidirectional charging of electrical vehicles. So and that's why I mentioned the use cases of the behind the meter use cases of bidirectional charging in buildings or at homes. From what I understand, and correct me if I understand wrong your question, you're talking about the usage of connected cars data for traffic logistics optimization. That's something that it's not the number one priority, but it's something that it's on our radar and might be interesting also to look into that. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Pedro. So V2X usage and traffic might be interesting for the program then. Moving on to Chris, who's asking multiple questions, but first, do you have other criteria in your selection? Or maybe what are the most important criteria of the selection? And then he's asking about the size of the company, traction or revenue, and how do you score startups? So I think what are the main criteria in the selection?
Okay. We don't specifically look into the size of the company or the traction or revenue. That is not something that is in our guidelines and in our criteria of evaluation for the program. when it comes to being eligible to apply, basically you are eligible if you are a startup that is working on a technology-based solution, and if you reply, if your solution is adequate to the challenge that you are applying to. So, and actually, just to mention an add-on is that you can apply to different challenges if you have different technologies that can basically apply to more than one challenge. This is okay. This has happened in previous years, and it's completely fine. You just need to make sure that your technology is currently at least at an experimental proof of concept stage, so a TRL of 3 to 4. Because if it's less than that, it's for sure not something that we are going to look into, because we need to be able to have something that we can test proactively with the teams and with the business. So I think that is basically the main criteria. And one thing that we also really look into when we are evaluating the startups is also what are your suggestions for the pilot that you would develop with us. That is also something that we are always very interested in learning more about, because then when we have one-to-ones with the startups that actually go to this phase, it's something that already gives us great input for us to also ask you questions and connect with you. So I hope this has answered your question.
Thank you, Joanna. Thank you, Chris, for your question too. We have Tarcisio with 2 questions. I will start by a question maybe related to what we were talking about. Tarcisio asks, level 3 or 4 must be an operative stage?
I'm not 100% sure what operative stage means, but basically what we are talking about is that you are ready at least for a proof of concept, okay? And of your technology is ready to do a proof of concept with us, and it's something that it's already at least been validated, let's say in a lab environment, but maybe it hasn't been tested in a real life scenario, okay? So this is the minimum for us. Of course, you can be at a more mature stage, and that is okay for us. We just cannot have solutions that are less mature than that. So you need to already have something that is mature enough for us to be able to understand what it is, look at it, and actually test it with you, okay? You need to have a product that is already, even if it's not being, even if you don't have clients yet, let's say, it's something that we can see and we can actually test with you. So I would say that it is operative stage if you mean that it needs to be at least functional for us to test and see if the technology actually works, or if it works in our specific environment.
Thank you, Joanna. You also answered the question from Chris, who was asking if a higher TRL of 7 to 8 is allowed. So
yes, it is.
As Joanna was saying. Coming back to Tarcisio's previous question, he was asking about storage solutions that use EV as a service. Is it considered? Could it be a good criteria?
I think this one is for Pedro. What do you think, Pedro? Storage solutions using EV as a service are a good fit for this vertical, or do you think it's more of a fit to another one?
Can you hear me? Because I lost connection for a while. But
now
I think
I can.
We are on Tarcisio's first question about storage solutions using EV as a service, right?
Exactly, yes.
Okay, this is really something that is in our priority. So this using EV as a service, so these electrical vehicles providing flexibility and being either through the bidirectional charging, either being with a smart charging solution. This is something that is really on our radar and that we are giving priority more and more right now.
Okay, thank you, Pedro. So Tarcisio, yes, it could be very interesting. So looking forward for your application. I don't know, guys, if you have more questions, do not hesitate to type them in the chat. In the meantime, I have a couple of questions that come back when startups talk to me about this, about the project. One of them being what is the expected duration of the support from GALP for the projects for Startup the Future?
We don't have a specific duration defined, and it is intentional that we don't have this anywhere in the website, just because every pilot that we have at GALP that comes from Startup the Future or not, we only know how long the pilot is going to last when we are actually confronted with the technology and we do the whole planning of the project. And it depends a lot on the type of technology and in what we want to test specifically, if we are going to test in one location or more, and then we just apply to it. So we can do it for 6 months, we can do it for 2 years, we don't know. It depends. We have had projects that have had like a longer term of duration, and others that have been, well, less than that. And sometimes you have a project that takes less time, and then if it works out and it's something that actually proved to be successful, basically it just stops being a pilot and it is integrated into the business. So it comes out of our sphere of innovation and it just goes directly to the business unit, and it becomes a business. So we cannot predict this, which is why basically there is no correct answer for this. It really just depends on the technology and how long the technology needs for us to be able to assess it, see if it is strong enough, if it fits our business or not. Okay,
so it depends from the technology.
Yes, it's impossible to predict that, especially when we don't know who is applying, what are the technologies, what we could do eventually with the technology. It's not something that we know in advance ever.
Of course. Okay, very clear. Thank you, Joanna. I'm trying to see if there is any more questions. Do not hesitate if you have more questions. Yeah, we can maybe wait 1 or 2 minutes if you can have a question.
Okay.
Yeah, in the meantime too, I have another question that always comes up with startups again.
Sure.
As you mentioned, GALP is mainly active in Portugal, Spain, and Brazil, right? And so
and the 7 African countries as well.
And 7 African countries.
Yes.
So if there has to be a pilot development, it should be in one of these countries, or is it possible elsewhere?
If you let me, Joanna, I think in the e-mobility area, we are mainly present in Portugal and Spain.
Yes, Iberia.
So we'll give priority to Iberia for this type of projects, basically because it is where we have the presence as residential electricity customers, and also in the mobility areas, ultra-fast chargers, for example.
Exactly. Basically, it really depends on your technology, and because we are present in 10 countries, but the type of business that GALP has in each of these countries is not necessarily the same. Okay, so as Pedro mentioned, in Iberia we are a very strong player in electric mobility, and our electric mobility business is only actually in these 2 geographies. So what you can expect from this track is eventually a pilot in Portugal and or Spain. One of our winners from, I think, 2 years ago, which was Mobilize, and that was also a partner that we had when it came to mobility. You can search them up also online. They did a pilot with us in Portugal and in Spain.
Yes, it's interesting because and both markets have different dynamics in this area. So, for example, GALP has a larger base of customers in Portugal, but in Spain, the way that the market of electrical mobility, of public charging, lends itself more to some different solutions. So it's really complementary.
Yeah, and when it came to this company that I mentioned, once again, it was very interesting for them because they were not present in these 2 geographies, so it was a way for them
Joanna,
to test the market.
if I may interrupt, Tarcísio, has a question about if a project from Brazil will be considered. It depends really on what you consider as a project from Brazil. If you are preparing your project from Brazil, but you are able to have a pilot here on Iberia, or if the pilot is digital eventually, it will be much easier than having a physical pilot in Brazil. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, I think you said everything, Pedro, because all in all, for this specific track, we are for sure going to test in Portugal and Spain. So it would be very difficult for us to do a pilot specifically in Brazil, just because we don't have the necessary infrastructure when it comes to our business to do that. Okay, so it just wouldn't make sense, and it wouldn't be also of value to you. For example, this company that I was mentioning, they were from Slovakia, if I'm not mistaken, but they were for sure able to do a pilot in Portugal and Spain, and it was of their interest because they were a company that were already in other markets, and they wanted to try and see if Iberia could be a good fit for them. So feel free to apply from anywhere, as long as you can work with us in these countries.
Yeah, I would add also that if the solution is not depending on a physical location, we have pilots of digital solutions that are not based in Portugal and Spain. So that's also something. And I see another question on geographical location from Chris, saying that their solution is focused on large cities like Lisbon, Madrid, Barcelona, and supports the charging of electrical vehicles in cities. And he wants to know if these cities are included, and can these city administrations also support such a project. Okay, these 3 cities are located in Portugal or Spain, so it's cities where we have presence, we have service stations, we have teams there, so they are included. Regarding the city administrations, that's something that we have to enter into contact with the administrations, considering the specificities of the project. So it would really depend on everything, and to talk with the specific administration, and could be different in Lisbon than Madrid than Barcelona. So
whenever we test in a specific city, a lot of times because if we have a charger that is not located, let's say, in one of our service stations, if it's located in the actual city itself, of course we need to involve the city halls in that regard, and all of them work differently, but we are used to this, and it's just something that we can do for all of the projects if necessary. Okay.
Thank you, Joanna. Thank you, Pedro. So just to summarize real quick, we accept solutions from everywhere around the world. If it's physical, however, it would be ideal if you can develop it in Iberia, especially for the mobility track. If it's digital, maybe it's more open. And looking forward to have your applications, everyone. I think I don't see any more questions. Maybe, we can just we will receive your applications until September 10th. Feel free to contact me if you need if you have further questions about the program. I would be very happy to answer. Here you can see also our past webinars we did for the last 2 months, basically treating every time to a topic of the program. Feel free to watch them. They're on the YouTube channel of Hello Tomorrow if you need more details. And as I don't see any more questions, I think we can close the webinar for today. Thank you again, Joanna, and thank you, Pedro, for all the details of the answers. And looking forward for everyone to participate.
Yes.
Thank you,
Ahmed. Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone, for attending.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.